Next question is, hey, Bradley, if a website starts ranking with just tier 1 backlinks, 2.0s, and citations, do you still create G stacks, press releases, batch geo, etc., to give it a solid foundation, or do you only add additional services as they are needed? No, one of the things that I think should be standard operating procedure, no matter how well the campaign is performing at the current moment, is to always build additional branded assets and to strengthen the brand. You can, if it's performing well in search, you don't need to continue building additional like tier 1 links and things like that. Because, I don't ever recommend taking your foot entirely off the gas, so to speak, because you want to constantly keep applying pressure to the campaign. But that said, typically if I have something that is performing well in search, then we still continue to build out branded assets as part of like the brand expander process, because it's something that we just continue to do over time. Thank you. And then we also include things like the Google stacks and all of that, or the G site, at least, even if it's not a full stack. All of that stuff is standard operating procedure for what we set up at the start of a campaign. So that's all part of the brand builder process. In fact, give me 1 second, guys. I want to pull something up and pause the screen for just a moment. I can figure out how to do this on a Chromebook. I'm going to give you guys a quick preview of something that I developed for the local or for the mastermind members, but we are going to turn this into a product. So this will be coming out sometime. Right now I'm a little bit overwhelmed with some work, but we will be turning this into a product at some point soon. I'm not going to say when, because I don't know yet, but soon. Let me go ahead and start the screen share again. All right, so this is called the local SEO schedule, and I created this just to answer some questions for some people in the mastermind about the cadence or the sequence in which I do things for my own local SEO clients. And so, guys, you can take a screenshot of this, and again, we're going to turn this into a more kind of fleshed out product that's going to have timelines for when these things should be applied to the campaign and all of that kind of stuff. But it's going to take and we'll put it into like a training format and probably an SOP format as well. But here's an example of that. You'll see that I always start with all new campaigns with a full audit or a competitive link analysis, depending on whether it's an existing business or a new business. That is always the starting point, because I want to see what the current status of the campaign is, what the health of the campaign is, what their digital presence looks like across multiple places. Again, like I've talked about many times on these Hump Day Hangouts, there's 4 components to the full SEO audit. So if it's an existing business, I want to see, number one, what does Google understand about the local entity, that specific branded location? Then we look at the on-page analysis for the self-hosted site. Then we look at the on-page analysis for the GBP. And then we look at the off-page, which in the SEO audits is just the backlink analysis. Because if it's one of my own local SEO clients, we can also analyze the other half of the off-page analysis, which is engagement signals. For those of you that are wondering, well, how do you measure that? Well, you look at Google Business Insights, Search Console, and analytics data. And that's how you can determine what types of engagement the campaign is getting from map search, organic search, and overall website traffic via analytics. Okay, so if it's one of my own local SEO clients, if it's an existing business instead of a new business, then we're going to do a full SEO audit so that we can determine exactly what the health of the campaign is and where there are deficiencies that need to be addressed. If it is a brand new business or a business that really has no digital presence, it might be an established business but has little or to no digital presence, then we'll just go with the competitive link analysis, because we still have to build all of the other assets, if that makes sense. But then we start the website structure. Typically for my own local SEO clients, for tree care contractors, we're typically going to build them a new site, because I won't work on their existing sites. If they want me to work on their existing sites, I don't, but I will consult with, I will provide instructions for their webmaster to then execute. I do not work on other people's websites. So unless we build it, we don't work on it. But then we go to brand builder or branded assets, depending on how well established the business is. But brand builder, which is, we have an SOP for that in the mastermind, but we also have done for you services. So we have a done for you service for brand builder and then also one for branded assets. What's the difference? Brand builder is a lot more robust than branded assets are. There's several more additional properties in the brand builder service and everything else, but basically why I brought that up was because it answers the question about, do we do Google Stacks and all that? No, but one of the, well, we don't, when a project, a campaign, a local SEO campaign, when I first take on a local SEO campaign, like a tree care contractor, we're going to do this no matter what, if that makes sense. Because that, in my opinion, the two most important things in local search right now are brand authority for the specific branded location and site efficiency. Those two things, if you get those right, that's 80% of the battle right now. You could have deficiencies in some of the other problems. Like, and when I say site efficiency, that also includes proper site structure. That's why, again, this is number 2. You understand? You guys see what we're doing here. We are addressing the 2 items that I just described as the most important in local search right here in these first 3 bullet points of this local SEO schedule. You understand? First, we always analyze the campaign and what its current status is. That's what the first bullet point is. Number 2 is we start to engineer or develop, or in my industry, I already have the structure built. So we just deploy a new site for the client. Or if they want us to use their existing site, then I will then, through the audit, I will already have all the instructions for on-page optimization that then I will submit to their webmaster to have them execute. If that makes sense. But so we are addressing site efficiency in bullet 2, which is also proper structure. Just to be clear, when I say site efficiency, that is assuming that the structure is proper. Okay, and so if that, you have to kind of, when I say site efficiency, that includes proper site structure. Okay, and then we go right into building or strengthening the brand, the branded location. Right, this is brand strengthening. That's what this is. We're doing right here, and that's why we start with those 3 bullet points, because we need to know what the current status of the campaign is, how the website, what is the current structure and efficiency of the site, because most sites that I analyze or audit, not just for my own clients, but for white label clients, etc., they're terrible. They're horrible structure. They have awful, a huge amount of what's called crawl resistance. Thank you, Cecilia. She's the one that coined that term, as far as I know. But when I say crawl resistance, I mean they have excessive technical SEO errors, things like that Google frowns upon, and Google is punishing sites that are not efficient right now, in local search especially. I mean, that's pretty much all I work on anyway. So you see what we're doing is we're figuring out where the deficiencies are, but the first 2 points, no matter what, that we're going to address is website structure and efficiency, and then building brand authority, right? Depending on what the current strength of the branded location is. For those of you that are maybe questioning what I mean by branded location, well, remember, it could be a multi-location business. So there's overall brand strength, which is kind of location neutral. And then there's specific location, branded locations, right? Each branded location has its own separate knowledge graph. And so you want to try to develop that as fully as possible. And we can help Google to develop that knowledge graph in some of the things that we do. That's what Brand Builder is specifically for, is to help influence what Google understands about that particular branded location very, very quickly. Within 30 days, really want to say 6 weeks, because Google's just so slow to pick up and index things right now. But when I first launched or developed the Brand Builder service, it was 30 days, and we could guarantee within 30 days that we'll take over a brand search in it for a brand search for the top 2 pages of the search results would be entirely populated with branded or supporting assets or external page URLs that are referencing that particular branded location. Now it's more like 6 weeks, just because of Google being a little bit slower to crawl and index things. But in any case, that's always the starting point. So to answer the question that Alex had, all of those other foundational things are already going to be in place, period. Like, full stop. Those are the first things that we put into place. Now, Brand Expander, which is one of the services or training programs that we have inside the Semantic Mastery, that also is continually building out branded profiles as well and interlinking them. And then once the profile is published, you want to place the profile URL in the ID page in the same as attributes, the schema, as well as to the G sheet that's we embed into the ID page. And that way, we're constantly adding new branded assets into the knowledge graph for that particular branded location. And that's something that I recommend that everybody does. That's why we kept Brand Expander very inexpensive. And we've specifically set it up not for any principal of a company to execute, but that is something that a virtual assistant or data entry type of a employee should be doing. And it's we encourage people to subscribe to Brand Expander, which if you're in the mastermind, it's included. But if not, you can subscribe to that separately. It's very inexpensive. And you just plug a VA into it. And you have your VAs execute that for every single client, if that's clear. And that's part of the reason, because again, the two most important things, in my opinion, in local search right now: brand authority, site efficiency, which includes proper structure.